Welcome to a deep dive into some seriously mind-bending ideas about life,
Yeah.
dreams, and even death.
Sounds intense.
It is.
Yeah.
We're exploring an ancient text that claims we can influence these big life events by mastering a specific kind of energy.
Oh, wow.
Intrigued.
Definitely I am.
I know.
What's fascinating about this source is that it doesn't just lay out mystical concepts. It
Yeah.
connects them to modern practices like lucid dreaming.
Oh, cool.
Almost like it's breaking ancient wisdom with our current understanding of the mind.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation. What exactly is this energy we're talking about?
It's called prana,
Okay.
and it's described as this vital life force energy that flows through everything.
Hmm.
You can't see it,
Right.
but the source material argues it's what fuels our breath, heartbeat.
Oh, wow.
Every single cell in our bodies. Think of it like the electricity running through a complex machine.
Yeah.
Only this machine is you.
So prana is kind of like the invisible power source keeping us alive and functioning. But the source material goes deeper than that.
Exactly.
It suggests we can become aware of prana, even tap into it.
Exactly. And the text gets really specific here.
Yeah.
It pinpoints the third eye,
Uh-huh.
that spot between your eyebrows, as the key access point for prana.
Okay.
Imagine being able to sense this invisible energy flowing through you,
Wow.
almost like a sixth sense.
Whoa, that's a wild concept. But hold on, what does sensing your prana even do? Does the text say?
Well, here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The source claims that someone highly attuned to their prana can actually perceive when its flow reverses,
Hmm.
which supposedly happens 6 months before death.
Hold up, so we're talking about predicting your own death by
Right.
feeling a shift in your energy.
Yeah,
That's a pretty bold claim.
it is. And let's be clear,
Yeah.
there's no scientific evidence to back this up.
Right.
It's presented as a concept within this specific belief system.
Okay, so maybe we need to approach this more as a metaphor or an exploration of a different way of thinking about life and death.
Right.
But let's play with the idea for a minute. If someone could sense this energy reversal, wouldn't that fundamentally change how they lived the remaining time they had?
Absolutely. Imagine the potential shift in priorities,
Yeah.
the focus on what truly matters.
Yeah,
It would make you question every assumption about how you spend your days, wouldn't it?
it really would. Okay, so this concept of prana is tied to life and death. But the text also connects it to sleep and dreams.
Yes.
It even calls sleep a little death.
Right. And that connection makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Both sleep and death involve a fading of consciousness, followed by a reawakening, at least in the case of sleep.
Right.
The source is implying a deeper similarity between these states.
Okay, so how does prana fit into this whole sleep as little death idea?
The source material claims that by becoming aware of the prana flowing through our hearts as we drift off to sleep,
Cool.
we can actually transform our experience of both sleep and dreams.
So instead of just drifting off mindlessly, you're suggesting there's a way to actually feel your life force energy as you fall asleep.
Yes.
That sounds incredible, but also a little hard to grasp.
Right.
What kind of transformation are we talking about?
Well, think about it this way. Most of the time, our dreams just happen to us.
Yeah.
They're these random,
Right.
often bizarre experiences that we have no control over.
Totally.
But this ancient text suggests mastering prana could be the key to unlocking conscious dreaming.
You mean like lucid dreaming?
Exactly.
Where you know you're dreaming and can even control the dream?
Yes.
Could this prana awareness be like the missing piece that helps people achieve that?
That's a great question, and the source certainly seems to be hinting at a connection.
Yeah.
It claims that by mastering prana, we can actually gain control over our dreams,
Okay.
turning them from involuntary events into intentional experiences.
Wait, so we're not just talking about avoiding a nightmare here? We're talking about being able to actively create entire dream landscapes,
Yeah.
characters,
Yes.
scenarios. If that's possible, it changes everything we think we know about dreaming.
It's a mind-blowing concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea that we could shape our dream world with the same intentionality we bring to our waking life.
Hmm.
And the source material doesn't just stop at dream control.
Oh.
It takes it a step further and claims that dream control is just the beginning.
Okay, now I really need you to unpack this for me. What could possibly be beyond being able to direct your dreams?
According to the text, dream control is like training wheels
Oh, wow.
for something much bigger.
Okay.
Quieting the surface chatter of the mind and entering a state of sleep so profound it's likened to death itself.
Wow, a sleep as deep as death.
Yes.
What is the source that happens in that state?
It's described as incredibly restorative and transformative,
Hmm.
but the details are vague. It's
Interesting.
almost like the text is saying this state is beyond our ability to comprehend with our everyday minds.
Okay, so the source material is laying out this path. Awareness of prana leads to conscious dreaming, which leads to this incredibly deep, death-like sleep.
Right.
But this all sounds very theoretical. Does the text offer any real-world examples of this kind of mastery?
It does, and this is where it gets even more intriguing.
Oh.
The source actually points to two specific figures as examples,
Okay.
Buddha and Mahavira,
Uh-huh.
key figures in Buddhism and Jainism.
Wait, those major spiritual leaders?
Yeah.
What does the source say about them?
It claims they achieved complete mastery over prana,
Wow.
allowing them to not only direct their dreams,
Uh-huh.
but even influence the circumstances of their death and rebirth.
Okay, now that's a serious claim. I'm guessing we need to unpack this carefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to consider the historical and philosophical context here.
Yeah.
Buddha and Mahavira are revered figures, and their lives are often shrouded in legend and mythology.
So how do we approach these stories from the source material without getting lost in the realm of myth? What can we realistically learn from them?
That's a great question, and one we should delve into deeper.
Yeah.
But I think even if we approach these stories as metaphors,
Okay.
they still offer a fascinating glimpse into the potential the source material is pointing to.
Hmm.
The idea that mastering our inner world, our prana, could have such profound effects on our lives and even our deaths.
Yeah.
It's a powerful concept, even if we don't take it literally.
It is powerful, and I have so many more questions about it, but let's pause here for a moment, listeners, and take a breath. We've just covered a lot of ground. From the concept of prana to dream control to the idea of a death-like sleep. We'll be back in a minute to dive even deeper into this fascinating text.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea that these spiritual masters supposedly controlled their deaths and rebirths.
Right.
I'm struggling to reconcile that with my own more, shall we say, scientific worldview.
I hear you. And I think it's important to approach these stories with a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Yeah.
Remember, the source material is presenting a specific belief system,
Okay.
not necessarily a historical fact. So how should we interpret these stories then? Is it just about blind faith?
Not necessarily.
Hmm.
Even if we set aside the literal interpretation of rebirth,
Okay.
these stories can still offer valuable insights.
Hmm.
What if we look at them as metaphors
Yeah.
for the power of mastering our inner world?
Okay. I like that approach.
Wow.
So instead of focusing on the literal act of rebirth,
Right?
we're looking at it as symbolic of transformation and self-renewal.
Exactly. Think about the challenges and transitions we all face in life.
Mm-hmm.
Lost heart, career changes, even just the daily ups and downs.
Yeah.
What if by mastering our prana,
Right.
by achieving that level of inner peace and control, we could navigate those experiences with more grace and wisdom?
That's a powerful idea. It's almost like we're talking about becoming the architects of our own inner evolution.
And that idea of inner evolution ties in perfectly with another fascinating concept from the source material.
Yeah.
The idea that life and dreams are essentially made of the same stuff.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Life and dreams are made of the same stuff.
A pretty radical idea.
What does that even mean? Is the text talking about some kind of mystical energy?
Right.
Or is this more metaphorical?
It's a bit of both, actually. The source doesn't delve into the scientific specifics,
Okay.
but it presents this idea that the same forces that shape our dreams
Right.
also shape our waking reality.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but my brain needs a little help here.
Sure.
What are the practical implications of this idea? How does knowing this change anything?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
If our dreams and waking lives are made of the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe the same principles apply in both realms.
Okay.
If we can learn to shape our dreams with intention, as the text suggests is possible through prana mastery,
Right.
can we also learn to shape our lives with more intentionality?
Whoa. Okay, that's a huge concept.
It is.
So instead of just reacting to circumstances,
Yeah.
we could be proactively creating the life we want. Just like we might create a dream landscape. That completely shifts my perspective.
And that's precisely the kind of paradigm shift this source material seems to be aiming for.
Yeah.
It's challenging us to question our assumptions about what's possible,
Mm.
both within ourselves and in the world around us.
So if dreams and life are made of the same stuff,
Right.
and we can learn to control our dreams through prana, does that mean we can actually become masters of our own destiny? Is that what the text is suggesting?
It certainly seems to be pointing in that direction.
Interesting.
It's presenting a vision of human potential where we're not just passive observers in our own lives,
Yeah.
but active creators shaping our reality from the inside out.
That's an incredibly empowering concept, but it also raises a lot of questions.
Sure.
What does it actually look like to shape your destiny?
Mm.
And what about free will?
Oh,
If we're shaping our reality, what happens to the idea of choice and consequence?
Those are excellent questions and ones that the source material doesn't explicitly answer. It's more about presenting a framework for thinking about these big existential questions
Yeah.
in a new way.
I have to say, this deep dive is definitely making me think about life and death differently.
Yeah.
And speaking of death, the source doesn't shy away from that topic either.
No, it doesn't.
In fact, it presents a rather unique perspective on it, right?
Absolutely. It reframes death,
Uh-huh.
not as an ending, but as a transition, almost like a deep, dreamless sleep.
And this is where the mastery of prana comes back into play, right?
Exactly.
The text suggests that by understanding and controlling prana,
Yeah,
we can overcome the fear of death and embrace it as a natural part of the cycle.
exactly. Instead of fearing death, we could potentially approach it with a sense of understanding and acceptance,
Right.
almost like waking up from a long sleep.
Yeah.
The text implies that death becomes a doorway to something else, not the final curtain.
That's a pretty radical shift in perspective, and it's not one you hear very often in our culture.
No.
We're so conditioned to fear death and avoid talking about it. Right.
But imagine if we could shift that fear into curiosity, even anticipation.
Interesting.
What if death, like dreaming, could be seen as an opportunity for transformation and growth?
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
That's a powerful thought, but I'm also wondering how realistic it is.
Yeah.
Can we really overcome such a primal fear just by understanding prana? Is the text offering a real solution or just a comforting fantasy?
Well, the text doesn't offer a step-by-step guide to conquering the fear of death.
Okay.
But what it does offer is a different way of framing the experience.
Right.
It suggests that by understanding our own energy,
Uh-huh.
our prana, we can gain a deeper understanding of the life-death rebirth cycle
Right.
and see it as a natural process, not something to be feared.
It's almost like the text is suggesting we can become more conscious participants in the cycle rather than just being swept along by it.
Precisely. It's about moving from a sense of being victims of existence
Yeah.
to becoming masters of our destiny.
That phrase, masters of our destiny, really stands out to me. It does.
It sounds so empowering, but it also feels a bit vague.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean to be a master of your destiny in this context?
That's a great question, and I think it's open to interpretation. But to me, it suggests taking responsibility for our inner world,
Okay.
for cultivating awareness of our prana,
Right.
and using that awareness to shape our experiences both in this life and beyond. It's about becoming active creators of our own reality,
Yeah.
rather than passive recipients of whatever fate throws our way.
So instead of just letting life happen to us, we're actively shaping it, almost like we're sculpting a work of art.
Exactly. And just like a sculptor needs to understand the properties of their materials, we need to understand the properties of our own energy,
Right.
our prana, to truly become masters of our creation.
Okay, listeners, I don't know about you, but my mind is officially blown wide open. This ancient text is packed with some seriously thought-provoking ideas, and we've only just scratched the surface. We'll be back in a moment to explore some key takeaways and what all this means for you in your daily life. Stay with us.
All right, we're back, and I'm still buzzing from all these mind-bending concepts we've unpacked.
Yeah, me too.
We've gone from the basics of pramana to the potential for conscious dreaming,
Right.
to even reframing death as a transition.
That's a lot.
It's a lot to digest.
Its ancient text offers a radically different perspective on life, death,
Yeah?
and the nature of reality itself. It's almost like a blueprint for a more conscious and empowered way of being in the world.
But how do we bridge the gap between these ancient ideas and our modern lives?
Right.
It's one thing to talk about mastering prana and shaping our destiny,
Yeah.
but what does that actually look like in practice?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The text doesn't offer a step-by-step guide.
But it does provide clues. It emphasizes the importance of awareness, of tuning into our inner world, and understanding the energy that flows through us.
So where do we even begin? If someone listening to this wants to explore these ideas further,
Yeah.
what would you suggest as a starting point?
Well, one practical step could be exploring lucid dreaming techniques.
Oh, yeah.
There's a growing body of research and resources available on how to cultivate awareness
Right.
within the dream state.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe by mastering those techniques,
Yeah.
we might even stumble upon some of the deeper insights about prana that this ancient text hints at.
That's a great suggestion, and it ties back to what we were discussing earlier about the
Yeah.
potential connection between lucid dreaming and prana mastery.
Exactly.
It's like those modern techniques could be a gateway to accessing those ancient wisdom teachings
Yeah,
on a more experiential level.
exactly. And even if someone isn't ready to dive into lucid dreaming, simply paying more attention to their own dreams can be a powerful starting point. Keep a dream journal. Try to recall your dreams as soon as you wake up. And look for recurring patterns or symbols. It's amazing what insights can emerge from our subconscious when we pay attention.
You know, it strikes me that this whole idea of mastering prana, of becoming conscious creators of our reality, requires a level of self-awareness and introspection that many of us aren't used to in our fast-paced, outward-focused culture.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with distractions and external stimuli.
Right.
It takes a conscious effort to turn inward and cultivate that awareness of our inner landscape,
Yeah.
our energy, our prana.
Right.
But the text suggests that the rewards for that effort are immense.
It's almost like the text is inviting us to embark on a journey of self-discovery, using these ancient teachings as a map and our own experiences as a compass.
And the beautiful thing about this journey is that there's no one right path. What resonates with one person might not resonate with another. The key is to approach these ideas with an open mind and a willingness to explore, to experiment, to see what feels true for you.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired to take a step in this direction, what would be your parting advice?
I would say don't get overwhelmed by the enormity of these concepts.
Right.
Start small. Start with curiosity. Maybe explore those lucid dreaming techniques or simply start paying more attention to your dreams. Delve into Eastern philosophies that resonate with you. The more you explore, the more connections you'll start to see and the more empowered you'll become to shape your own experience of life, death, and everything in between.
Beautifully said. This deep dive has been a mind-expanding journey, and I want to thank you for expertly guiding us through this ancient text and its profound teachings.
It's been my pleasure. These conversations are always enriching, and I hope our listeners feel empowered to continue their own exploration of these fascinating ideas.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to see the world and yourselves in a new light. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the mysteries of life and consciousness coming soon. Until then, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.